everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. It is currently 10 minutes before we go live. My name's Blue Melnick, if you don't already know, and we're getting ready for tonight's broadcast, which is training number 2 in the live event workshop. And it's funny, I was talking with my team earlier today, and every time I hear that jazz, I literally just want to be drinking a martini and smoking a cigar. I'm not sure either of those two things are healthy for me, but it's exactly where I want to be right now. Anyway, just a quick recap. This is our second training. In Monday night's training, we covered a lot of ground. So as a reminder, we did cover some of the secret sauce, the key points that Sage uses with all of our clients to generate profitable events over and over again. One of those things was our strategy first methodology and what that means. Another of them was how to avoid the Frankenstein effect, which I definitely want you to think about. If you haven't seen Monday night's training, it is actually available on demand. So you can click on it, just click on the date above this video. Don't do it now, because it's about an hour and a half long, and I want you to stay for tonight's training. But when this is done, I would check it out. In addition to that, Barry covered the 3x3 PAG. And tonight we've got a little something special in store for you. There may be a downloadable version of that 3x3 PAG coming your way, so keep an eye open for that. In addition to that, Barry covered the ACE model, which is why most people buy high-ticket offers. ACE, of course, stands for Accountability, Community, and Enhanced Opportunity. You'll have to listen to Monday night's training to hear what order of those is most important. So for tonight, the reason for we're live right now is just to kind of make sure the technology is working. Make sure that you can hear me. I obviously can't hear you, but if you're hearing me double, if you're hearing two of me, or if it sounds like there's a bit of an echo, what I want you to do is double check to see if you have multiple tabs open with this video playing. That can happen if you clicked on the link a couple of times from the email. It'll have opened up twice, and then you'll have a weird echo, and I don't want you to have that, so close your tabs. The other thing, if you have limited bandwidth where you're watching this from, try and turn off anything that is a heavy bandwidth application like Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive, one of those file syncing applications that really do take up or have the capacity to take up a good amount of bandwidth in the background. Also, if you have kids in the house who are playing video games or streaming YouTube in 4K or something like that, you may want to ask them to turn that down to, I don't know, a low quality stream so that you can watch this amazing presentation. Barry has a phenomenal presentation scheduled for you guys. We're also going to be taking live questions like we did on Monday night, so make sure you mark your questions down or just post them in the chat. And in the meantime, we have about 7 minutes before we go live. I would love to know where it is that you are watching from in the world tonight. Now, Paul Pruitt yesterday told me that I just have to point in this direction. The chat box is right over here. If you are watching on a phone or on a tablet, it may be below you. But do check out that chat. You can log in using your Facebook account, your Twitter account, or we turned something on for those of you that don't have a Facebook or Twitter account. You can log in as a guest now, but please use your real name so we know who you are and we can answer any questions that you may have. So love for you to interact in that chat and let us know how things are going for you, where you are in the world, and what was your big takeaway from Module 1 or Training 1 of this live event workshop. So I'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. We're going to play a little bit more of that light jazz, and well, yeah, I'll be right back. That's it for now. Hey again, everybody, and once again, welcome to tonight's broadcast. This is training number 2 in the live event workshop, and I am thrilled that you're joining us tonight. I want to give you a couple reminders before we get going. First off, make sure that you log into the chat. The chat box should be right here if you're watching on a computer, or if you're on a mobile device, it's going to be below this video. And would love to hear where you're calling in from. I'd also love to hear what your primary takeaway was, what your big aha was from training number 1. If you didn't get a chance to watch training number 1, you can click on it. It's going to be right about there somewhere, and watch that in the next couple of days, or tonight if you're really up for a late night. But in the meantime, we are really just about ready to get started. And Barry is right in here, much like she was yesterday. I kind of love this shot. Whoa, Barry, where are you? Where'd you go?
What are you doing?
What? So,
Tech check?
yeah, we're doing a quick tech check. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good, you ready?
I'm ready. Is
Awesome.
it almost time?
Yeah, it is almost time.
What?
I know, craziness.
I've been waiting all day and it's finally here.
There it is. So get on in there. Come on now. This is my time on camera. She gets 90 minutes. I get 3. This is how it goes around here. So we are just about ready to get going. Quick reminder: if you're hearing an echo, just close your browser and click on the link again, and that should eliminate the echo. Or double check to see if you have multiple tabs open. Also want to make sure that you turn off any heavy syncing applications, Dropbox, things like that, that could limit your bandwidth over tonight's broadcast. We've done the same thing here at the office, and that's about it for me. I'm really excited. We are about to get started, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the live event workshop. This is our second deep dive training in the workshop, and I am super excited that you're back with us again today. Whether you have an online business, a product, a course, a book, a member site, you are a speaker, an author, an influencer with a burning desire to get in front of your audience, this is the place to learn how to get the power of a live event to work for you. So let's get started. Barry Baumgardner, and even though I've been using this structure and these strategies to create client success stories since 2004, this is the very first time I'm sharing the Sage secret sauce that we use to create 6, 7, and 8-figure paydays for people just like you. We have made hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients. In fact, some of our events generate $15 million in a single weekend. We have launched masterminds, group programs, new products and services using the same time-tested live event model. And the truth is, live events launch businesses in every market niche, in every corner of the world that you can think of. In this workshop, I'm going to be showing you the proven strategies that we use every single day. If you're not familiar with me or my work, I created the Sage strategy and structure that I am sharing with you here over the last 15 years, strategizing and producing 30 events a year for speakers, authors, influencers, and online marketers. And I've been helping entrepreneurs who have digital courses, membership sites, and launches turn those very same successes into additional leverage. And by leverage, I mean millions, through the power of a live event. I can pretty much guarantee that even if you don't know me, you know some of my clients. Russell Brunson, Michael Hyatt, Mary Morrissey, Alex Mandossian, Harv Eker, Lisa Sasevich, Ali Brown, Marcia Wieder, the list goes on. If you are just starting out, this is how you scale fast, getting clients and recurring revenue virtually overnight. And if you already have an online business, a digital course, an ebook, a webinar, a member site, or you're in Launch World, this is how you grow that business super fast. Because live events not only build businesses, they build overnight success stories and industry legends. They can position you and catapult your profit. Because here's the thing, live events are the ultimate multiplier. I cannot wait to dive in. I've been waiting for this all day because I have so much content for tonight. I'm going to be covering a lot of ground today, so I want you to be sure that you've got a pen and paper handy or your favorite note-taking device if it's a computer or iPad so that you can follow along and take some notes. But before I get going, I want to address something that I said on Monday night in our very first training. I told you that we're not going to do this training to convince you to hire us. In fact, our calendar gets booked out about 12 months in advance, and we're already booked through 2020. But in reading all of your comments, I'm already seeing some frustration because some of you want to go deeper and you're ready to get going. Some viewers like Cynthia Fontaine and Donnie Collins have already been asking if there's any way that they can hire us. And I want to serve you on the deepest level. So for those of you that want to, we have something really revolutionary that we're going to be introducing next week. In fact, you may have already noticed a 4th training that's posted on Monday, August 12th. We just added it to this page. So for those of you that want to learn more about how to put the power of live events to work for you, I want you to mark this on your calendar and join us on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern for a bonus training session. Here's the thing, I want you to make no mistake. I am still planning to share tons of awesome content on how you design a high-ticket offer and on how you design your content. I'm going to be covering that on Friday night. I've even added some fresh new content to tonight's training to address some of the questions that we've seen you post over the last 48 hours. But here's the thing, serving is in our DNA, and much like I've been teaching you, I want to deliver on what I promised and give you even more. And I know that some of you are still going to want to go even deeper. And since I can't take you on as a client, for the very first time ever, I'm going to be introducing a training that goes super deep, step by step, showing you exactly how to do all of this in your very own business. So while you can't get me or our team walking through this by the hand, walking you through by the hand, this is going to be the very next best thing. I hate saying no, and while I can't create space in the calendar for you to work with us individually, I'm hyper committed to step-by-step instruction and live interaction to help you harness the power of a live event in your business. This is the only way that you'll be able to get on our calendar and get all of your specific questions about your live event answered by me personally. And listen here, for those of you that are happy with where this training takes you and you don't want to keep going, that's all good too. But I highly recommend that you join me on Monday because we're going to be adding some awesome content to tie all 3 of these trainings together and give you a plan for using live events to scale your business in a really big way. So, I always think of live events as the little engine that could. I want you to be thinking about the fact that they can be the very engine that drives real momentum in your business. Live events change the world one attendee and one audience at a time. Online access has, at this day and age, made more information available to us than ever before in our history. Anything you could ever want to learn is right at your fingertips, but it does not replace live human interaction. And here's some super simple proof. Recently, my husband Blue and I went to Paris, and like thousands of other tourists, we went to the Louvre. As an art history buff, I could not wait to see the Monets and the Degas and the Picassos and the Pizarros, and like thousands of others, I wanted to see the Mona Lisa. So here's the thing, I could see her in my art history book at home. I could see her in the palm of my hand on my iPhone. She's super accessible. I could zero in and study every single brushstroke, every little detail, but I wanted to see her. I wanted to experience her live and in person, surrounded by other people just like me with the same common interest in art. We waited in line with literally hundreds of people, and then when it was our turn, we crowded around what is actually a fairly small painting. And I have to tell you, it was totally worth it. To stand in awe of her legendary hold on her audience with other people just like us was totally worth the wait. Different ages, different races, different countries, all unified for one moment and one common desire, one common interest, one common experience. That's exactly what live events do. They are literally the world's greatest platform for getting your story, your knowledge out there into the world. They are the best way to create real transformation for your tribe. They create big momentum in sales, and they are the best way to get people literally lining up, just like we did for the Mona Lisa, lining up to grow your business. So if you missed the very first training in this series, I want you to go check it out now, because I covered why now is the best time to host a live event. And I shared the core strategy behind the most successful live events in our industry. If you haven't watched it, I want you to go watch it right now. Like seriously, right now. There's a link to the training at the top of this page. And once you've watched it, you can come back for the second training. I'll still be here waiting for you. I promise. So in today's training, I'm going to show you how to go even deeper, how to design your high ticket offer, and then reverse engineer your event to help your business generate thousands or even millions of dollars in sales using the very same multipliers that helped our clients generate hundreds of millions. I am going to show you how you can get clear on your offer, design your marketing around that offer, attract your ideal client, and launch your one-to-many business without being pitchy, without being salesy, without being hypey. I'm going to help you understand and have super good clarity around your live event and how that translates into being a business builder before, during, and after your live event. It's the same way that Jeff Walker talks about a launch echo, there's an event echo. And it's literally the ripple effect that can effortlessly generate more revenue after your live event. Once you have this model down, you can literally begin planning your growth 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead, stacking your live events so that each one is building off the success of the one before it. And once you learn how to do live events, you're going to want to keep on doing them. Today, you're going to meet one of our clients who's done exactly that. She's built a multi-seven-figure business in less than 5 years, generating time and money freedom, a legion of followers, and a team that teaches her methodology while she's focusing on building her empire. And all of this is possible through the power of a live event. So there's a reason that you're watching this video with me right now. It's either that you have a business you want to grow, or you're ready to start an online business, you want time and money freedom. Ultimately, I believe you want a sense of purpose. I've helped thousands of clients of all sizes build their businesses, and the one thing I've noticed is our clients don't just want to make money. They want to have real impact. They want impact for their lives, they want impact for their families, they want impact for their tribe, and they want impact for the greater world around them. It's never just about the money. So if you watched our last training on Monday, you'll know that I get this, because when I started Sage, it was when my husband saw his family business implode around him. I was trying to support my family with additional income, and I was just trying to keep us afloat until he could get back on his feet. At the time, I just turned to the one thing that I was super passionate about, the one thing that I've excelled at since I was in high school. I knew I could not only do well financially, I knew I could do good in the world. And the do well, do good mentality is still the thing that fuels me today. Not only for myself, but for our clients and for their clients, and for the philanthropies that we help through live events. Live events have a huge ripple effect in the lives and in the world around you. When you do well, you can do good. At Sage, we believe that first you change yourself, then you change your family, then you change your tribe, and then you change the world. On Monday's training, we talked about that with Fabienne Fredrickson, and she's a good friend of mine and a client, and I asked her to share her live event success story and how live event multipliers allowed her to move her entire family from Stamford, Connecticut to Paris to live out one of her big dreams. So then I asked you, what's your Paris? What would you do if you had time and money freedom? And I want to thank all of you who posted. I actually asked my team to print some of these out because I wanted to share with you some of these awesome stories. Celeste Clancy, thank you, Celeste. She said, putting on live events will give me the leverage to get my message out in a way that me and my analysis paralysis or not seeing the how has preventing me from stepping in for. I just need a rail to run on, and I know I have what it takes to step out from behind the desk and out to the front of the room. And I love that, Celeste, like that whole piece of being behind the desk. You know, in online marketing, there's so much power in being able to have a webinar or a teleseminar, you know, be able to reach global audiences just from your desk. But there really is a power in getting out in front of the room, just like we talked about Monday. I'm going to share more of that with you today and how it can really make a huge difference in your life and in the life of your audience. So thank you for sharing that. And then Eden Adele. My Paris is to net at least 10K a month consistently so I can sustain myself as I build the global impact I truly desire. And Eden, I'm here to tell you, you can absolutely do that through the power of live events, and you can help your tribe do it too. And it might start with, 1K a month, then it goes to 5K a month, 10K a month, 100K a month. All of those are doable through the power of a live event. And Ketty Robles, I think you're here with us tonight. Thank you so much for posting this. It will change my life and my family, giving us a freedom to enjoy while they're growing, while they're paying for college, or while she's paying for college, and taking care of her health. I'm planning for my retirement at a young age. So first of all, good for you, planning for your retirement at a young age. And you're not unlike me when I first started out, or the clients that we help. And that you're in the beginning, it's like, first I changed myself, then I changed my family, then I changed my tribe, then I changed my country, then I changed the world. And it really does start there. When I started Sage, it was just about saving myself, my family. But once you get past that desperation stage, then it becomes about how time and money freedom can give you real leverage in your life and for your family and for your tribe. So it's a perfect starting point. I love that for you. And know that it's just the beginning of what you can truly do if you buy into this model. And for Katrina Worm, my Paris is to impact moms worldwide to find the space and the grace to find themselves again. And I love this. She says, with a home on the beach and an apartment in the city. And Katrina, you're a girl after my own heart. I love Manhattan. I spent a good number of years there before I moved here to Murrells Inlet to the beach. So my perfect life too. Apartment in the city and a house on the beach. And again, totally doable through the power of a live event. So that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about here tonight. I know so many of you others posted, and I wish I could read all of them. We've been trying to respond to all of them because they were super, super moving. And I hope you're kind of getting inspired by each other as you read each other's posts, knowing how many people out there know that the live event model is the way, the gateway, the pathway for them to have time and money freedom and to have real impact with their tribes. But here's the thing. There's kind of like a danger ahead warning. I want to talk to you about what we call the spaghetti sales strategy, because here's the thing. When you're thinking about doing a live event, you don't have to spend a fortune to host a successful live event. We do have clients that have $1 million budgets, multi-million-dollar budgets, because they're generating 10 times that or more in some cases in a single weekend. But I want you to hear me on this. We also have clients that are starting out with super lean budgets as they grow into their first event success. With this model, you don't have to spend millions to make millions. But there is a danger. This is the warning sign, because it's fairly easy with this model to host a live event in your hometown and have the overhead be pretty low compared to the upside that you can generate from the live event. And when that happens, hosts can get lazy and they can start to rely on what we call the spaghetti sales strategy. The spaghetti sales strategy is where hosts take kind of any warm body will do approach to filling their room. And I know there's a lot of fear of filling the room, so that any warm body approach then leads to them loading up the program with content, speakers, offers, and what you're generally doing is using a more is more mentality. But this is the equivalent of throwing spaghetti against the wall and just looking to see what sticks. And it's often coupled with an equally scattershot offer. It's what I would call the Frankenstein effect. In our last training, I talked about that. And if you haven't seen it, I want you to click the link above if you missed that training, because it's super important to what we're going to be talking about. The spaghetti sales strategy is super messy, and it can send your audiences into a counterproductive overwhelm that actually waters down your brand, and it can totally kill your conversions. So I want you to be super careful for that, because it's the riskiest way to host a live event, especially now. There's too many events out there, and there are too many successful hosts. And successful hosts are in it for the long haul. Successful hosts know that audiences come back year after year after year for a more streamlined approach with a less is more mentality, not a more is more, a less is more. Because here's the thing, audiences want a curated approach to content. They want some offers that allow them to see and to embrace opportunity that they could not see before. They want something that makes it seem super doable to them to implement what you are teaching and then to get real results out in the real world. They also really want authenticity. They want messages that are uniquely yours in a uniquely you way. And while the thought of that might be super intimidating, on Friday's training, I'm going to be showing you how it's super easy to fill a program with uniquely you content. Because guess what? It takes less content than you think. And today, I'm going to be showing you the structure and the strategy to reverse engineer that whole process and make it easier to fill the room with the right people for the right offer. Quite simply, the strategy-first approach that we swear by works. Not only does it deliver higher conversions, it creates raving fans without any bait-and-switch tactics, no manipulation, and no need to be overtly salesy or hypey. I know from your comments that you have a gift to share with the world. We've been hearing it for the last 48 hours that you're ready to step up in a much bigger way. And in many ways, events are kind of like a coming out party for you. It's like you're announcing that you're ready to be taken seriously. You're ready to be seen. You're ready to be heard. And even if you were just starting out and you're ready to have a breakout year, really generate a buzz, and solidify yourself as the authority, not just another expert, you're ready to make real money with real time and money freedom. Live events do all this and more. But the thing is, it does take work. And it's much easier when you have the structure and the strategy that we've been honing over the last 15 years, working with the best in the business. You know, what we often say is macro clear, micro easy. I want to go back to when I was a little girl, just to kind of drive this home. I quit the Girl Scouts because I was terrified at the thought of selling cookies door to door. I talked a little bit about that on Monday. And then in high school, my desire to spend summers on the beach overcame my fear of selling to strangers. I spent all my summers learning the art of the upsell. That's really what it was. It's how to turn a beach umbrella rental into a whole package, complete with beach chairs and boogie boards and rafts. And then in college, I experienced my first real community planning with sorority fundraisers for the tribe that was Tri-Delt and my sorority girls. And the lessons that I learned there about what it takes to build and be part of a real community are still serving me today. They're still driving that ACE model that I talked to you about on Monday night. Post-college, my first job was for a trade association where event planning was the job title. But the real work at that first job was learning how live events can change lives, change industries, and change policy. That is exactly where I learned the power of the stage as a platform and how we could create superstars with one well-crafted talk in front of a ton of industry influencers. I learned how to build a trade show from the bottom up and the difference between a booth and a booth strategy. And for those of you who don't know, one is going through the motions of renting a table and just throwing up a pop-up banner and some brochures, and the other is a game-changing strategy that generates buzz and leads that are going to convert into real dollars for you. And it was at that time that I saw firsthand how events can be the catalyst to get the right players at the table, to get competitors who would normally never talk to each other, finally to open up to each other when the energy and the experience are right for them. And so with more authority, I started to craft my own philosophy that I started to put into practice. And chiefly what I noticed was that the nuances really matter, that the logistics are more than just a checklist, that registration's more than just a place to pick up a badge. It sets the tone for the whole experience for your live event. And every single customer counts. What you do and what you say really do matter. People are watching and listening from the very first minute that they arrive at the front desk. And deals and decisions are happening as frequently in the elevator as they are in the restroom, as frequently as they do at the power tables and they do at the round tables. Great events don't have to be expensive, but they do have to be well run. The details really matter, both the micro and the macro. And over the last 16 years, I've spent a lot of time at back tables talking to people just like me, stuck in a life that they know is not theirs, which is where I was when I started. Afraid to move, afraid to change, afraid of the heavy lifting that was required to get to the other side. Sometimes they're afraid there is no other side. And I have to tell you, I think this is God's work, not to get too crazy woo, but I think that helping people to see more opportunity for themselves and giving them the tools to get there is super important work. I do that for our host, and our hosts do that for their clients. And if you have a super important message to get out there and a tribe that you want to help, who are you to not take the challenge? Here's the thing I want you to think about. Write this one down. Done is better than perfect. And waiting for perfect, you will never get the message down. You'll never get your avatar refined. You'll never get the feedback in, and you'll never get the results and the social proof if you don't just get out there. So for all of you here and all of you out there, it all starts with just taking action, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. We've helped so many entrepreneurs get from 0 to 6 figures seemingly overnight, and we've helped an equal number who got stuck at 7, or who got stuck at 6, get to 7, get stuck at 7, get to 8. I'm so proud of all these people that we helped, and I'm super awed by all the people that they help. And you know, between you and me, I get just as excited by a 50-person event as I do a 5,000-person event. I mean, I can learn something from all of them, and you can too. And now, having done hundreds of millions in sales, we know that the model works. It was launched from a guest bedroom in my first house, and now it's tested, proven, and innovated in different markets, different niches, different countries, and different languages. And now, because of that, it's easier than you think, because now there is a structure and a strategy that you can follow. If you're following me here, I want to enroll you in the belief that you can do this. I want to share this inspiration from one of my clients who started small, just like you, and is now doing 65 events a year. Let's take a look. Shanda Sumter, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend some time with me and with our audience. You are one of my favorite people in the world, and I just love your trajectory, the work that you've done. And I can't thank you enough for being willing to share that with our audience today so they can be inspired by your story and your results.
I'm excited. You and I always have a good time talking and sharing.
So I want to take our audience to a couple different places in your business, but let's start with where you are today. Like, what does your current business look like? Heartcore, describe that for our audience.
Well, I mean, starting where it's at now is basically, we're now doing a lot of events, you know, thanks to you.
How many events do you do a year? That's a great question.
We are doing 65. Well, last time I checked, it was 65. It's probably actually surpassed that a little bit. But remember when I started, though, you did my first event.
Remember that. What year was that?
5 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years ago. So from first event 5 years ago to running 65 events now, you have a multi-7-figure business helping people build their list and build their businesses through their list, through coaching, through VIP days, not just going one-to-one, but one-to-many. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like and how it's evolved since you started.
Yeah, so we're 8 figures now, thanks to events, actually.
Congratulations. And
Thank
longevity, right, is a big piece of that. 8 figures and really built for the long haul. I love that about you. Not just here, but planning for the future.
Yeah, totally. So where we started was, well, originally when I actually met you, I had already built an email list and I was selling one-to-one and just, I would basically open up my programs twice a year and I would spend 3 months as a sales cycle selling one wave. So I'd put 2 waves through and that was my build strategy. As a business coach, I was like, I couldn't sell 12 months out of the year and not be exhausted. So I broke it up into 2 3-month segments. So 6 months out of the year, I would sell on the phone. And then I built one salesperson with me. And then we were able to put, 40 or 60 people in a, like I remember 60 was a lot. Like 60 people on the phone, like selling in 3 months, 60 people. I think we started at like $7,500 for the program, which now has grown to 15,000. And that's basically how we did it. We did that for a couple years. And then I got this, like, I was fearful about doing live events because I actually am shy. Like, I built myself not to be shy. It's kind of weird that I do so many events now, but even naming my company Hardcore Business, I didn't want to name it Shanda Sumter because I didn't want to be the celebrity in the forefront. I had to work through a lot of layers to be able to get up on the stage. But I knew that the stage was an important piece for not only credibility, but influence.
I think that's, I just want to stop there for 1 second because, the average entrepreneur out there, I think if they were selling on the phone from the comfort of their own home and getting a $7,500 sale, I think they feel pretty comfortable with that. Like, that's a really good income. And you're introverted and, to have to get out there and be in the spotlight is considerably huge. Like you said, you kind of had to grow into that. So what made you say, okay, it's worth that to get to what? Like, what would that do for you? Why would you embrace stages?
Well, first, the best way I could describe that is like, I don't know, if you're kind of comfortable where you're at, like, that's just not me.
And I always call that the danger of good enough, like the danger of good enough. I'm doing good enough.
I think it's important to get a strategy up and going. You got to understand how to, you got to understand a sales strategy, a traffic strategy. Without a traffic strategy and a sales strategy, you're dead in the water. Everybody likes to focus on what's the product, whatever you sell. It's like there's nothing better than to have an event on the books or, you're pulling in traffic before it lights a fire underneath you to create an actual program or product or service. So I think traffic is the first place that I think everybody should focus on and then focus on sales conversions. And so when I looked at going into events, like I didn't realize it would be such an amplifier because I was still so freaked out about even getting up on a stage and delivering content. And so, but I knew it was like a credibility boost. So I think everybody's got a different reason for getting into it. The benefit was the amplifier because I went from 60 people in a program to selling, 60 people in 3 days.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so you got 3 month sales cycle and then you've got 3 day sales cycle, and it's like, whoa, like, and then they all start at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it's just a great thing. So
yeah.
For me, it was about credibility, but then it amplified. And then it became an annual event for me that I did, right? And still do. It's coming up for us, right?
And our first event together was how many people?
I think it was 140.
140, that was a great size. And then do you remember what your list size was back then?
It was probably like 5,500 or 6,000, something like that.
Yeah, so that's amazing. I know we've got a lot of people watching who are in that range and are thinking it's not big enough to do a live event, but you put 140 people into a room, and then we put 60 people into the program in 3 days versus you spending 3 months on that. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, and a renewal strategy in events. Like,
love that.
We were talking about this earlier. It's like, if you're online dating these days, you're on Tinder or Bumbles or any of those like online platforms, you don't really have the same connection to someone as you're swiping left.
Yeah,
right?
So let's talk about that because so many of our viewers are online and they're either just getting started online or they're having some success online. What does going offline? Offline for me is a live event, taking them into your orbit in a safe container that you control.
I think this is really confusing out there for people because I spend multiple 6 figures every single month on Facebook ads and Instagram ads. I couldn't have done that to start. And honestly, without events, I wouldn't have the cash flow to do that today. So again, I love traffic. I love all of that game for scaling as well. But at the end of the day, you need to know how to put people like in events and how to actually put people in your program. And events is one strong way to do it quicker. But then it's also renewal strategy. So it's like, you know, that whole like on Tinder, it's like when you're swipe dating, you know what I mean? If you're doing webinars online, like, let's be honest, people are going to webinars all the time and they're great. They're great. They're a great way to learn. But the conversion rates are not as high as they are at a live event. You can completely like screw up an offer and still do okay at an event where you're on a virtual camera, like, and you're swiping through slides. You don't know, you can't control people are like on their phones or they're doodling or their kid just ran in the door. When you've got people, a captive audience, there's just so much room for mistakes. And so here's what I want to share with you. Like right from the beginning, I was smart enough, even fearful to speak on stages, to put a live event retreat model into my fulfillment of coaching. And I always make a renewal offer. To give you an idea, we just had 50 people that I'm still like on year 9 in my company. We had 50 people come to their annual mastermind and it was renewal time. And I didn't do a pitch. I just put the offer on the flip chart with the bonuses that were connected with that offer. And on day one of the retreat, most of the people came in, which means that I had a renewal of 50% of people that started with me on year 1, stayed with me for year 2. And that's all because of a live event. Yeah. Right? And so you need to know how to run them. You need to know how to fill them. You need to know how, all of that type of stuff, which is not brain surgery, but you have helped me a lot alleviate some of the stresses that prevented me from getting into the game because I just didn't know. Does that make sense?
It does. So strategy first. Like, how do we start with the strategy and then reverse engineer it to get that result? And you just nailed it too, Shanda, like not just for this year, but for the year beyond that, the year beyond that. Because you're an empire builder, right? So you've been in this almost a decade, which is amazing. And you're looking forward to the next decade. So it's not just selling them that first time. It's then having amazing deliverables, having them become ambassadors of your programs, that they're recruiting others with their successes. So you're having time and money freedom. You're helping them have time and money freedom. You're having real impact.
Well, here's the deal. Like if you don't like that renewal strategy for our live event, it's like you don't create freedom, like real wealth freedom, by the initial sale. Yeah. It's about reoccurring. Like I remember Paul Mitchell saying, get in the reorder business. And I felt like I was smart at that point because I was like, I didn't start with just selling info products. I got in the reorder business from the get-go. And then I used events to be able to scale up. Does that make sense?
It does, for sure. And how do you think events do that differently? I mean, you just hinted at it. There's more room for mistakes. And that's in part because you're building incredible community in the room, reciprocity in the room, and they can really feel your energy. So it's a deeper relationship.
Let me share some real data here.
Love that.
For many, many years, I have been selling through, either the phone or selling through webinars, things like that. Even social media like Facebook, things like that. Like I can do a post on Facebook and get a couple people to come in, right? And if I stay on it, I can really have it be a great strategy through Facebook. But let's be honest, most people don't do what they say they're going to do. They just don't. Like there's a big gap in what we say we want to create and the actions that we take to create it. And that's another cool thing about events that's forgiving, is because once you do the initial work to put people in a room, you have that quantum growth factor. Now I'm going to tell you, like I got 180,000 that follow me on Facebook. Like I won't go through it all, but I got a good reach. And it is like, I barely put in the effort to get the conversions on it because it is a lot of effort. I'm shameful to say that, but I'm still working on that next like edge for myself to be a little bit more aggressive on our social platforms. But the truth is, like even our social platforms, I'll go and put an offer to come to my event because now here's some real data is think that for many, many years, I just sold on those sales cycles on the phone, right? Without the events. And what happens is that at about the 2-month mark of people being in our programs, we'd always have, I called it mean girl syndrome, where there'd be a group of people that go totally sideways and they take like 20 or 30 people with them, right? It's brutal. It's even in my modules, like still in my modules. that this is like, there's going to be a group of you that are going to go sideways when we convert to money. And I start teaching about money, and all your stuff's going to, and so it's in the modules because that's how real it was. Our accounting department braces themselves for it. Like it's like a real thing.
And now that you know that and you're planned for it.
Yeah, we do, right? Yeah. That's part of being an entrepreneur, plan for those breakdowns. But since we started an additional layer of events, when we kicked up the event model, now we are definitely an event-driven company. Like when you look at where we spend our money, it's events now. And so, about 10 months ago, we started a free give event where we actually, for free, like I went to Toronto, I taught a course, 100% of the people got the results. And I was like, I would just be a jerk if I didn't go and teach that. And I know that I can teach more people my methodology in a free event because there's no barrier to entry for them to come.
Absolutely.
And so I just decided I would try it. And of course, I do make an offer at it, but I really teach a $3,000 product, right? So I think it was Eben Pagan years ago who said, move the free line, like give, like be generous and give. The more you give, the more people get to know you. The more, like, it's like, even though I gave like the first 90 days of our PACE program at these events, people still hire us to coach them for the year, right? And teach them that what I taught them in the event again, to teach them again.
Well,
right?
it's a little bit the gateway. I mean, first of all, generosity is your platform. So it's woven into everything you do, not just something you say, but something that you do. And then that gateway drug is, if I came to this free event and it was this amazing, and I got that in a day, 2 days, 3 days, imagine what a year would be with you.
Yeah. Well, let me tie this piece together. Remember that every 2.5 months, we'd have this whole group, Mean Girls Go Crazy, right? Take people down with them. So it's like almost like your whole sales cycle. And then you get a big chunk of people that like go delinquent, right? About 10 months ago, we start this free model, and we haven't had that happen.
And why do you think that is? What's the game changer?
It's got to be the only thing I can test to is the bond that happens in the room, because I'm really teaching and I'm really giving. And to avoid feeling nervous or feeling shy, I just put my attention on giving everything I got. And so what happens is they feel full. And then the people who decide that they want us to actually coach them, the high performers that want us to coach them, come onto our program.
Right.
And the coaches always say, we love the people who come from these events because they're so grounded and ready. And they're in the same, culture is a big deal. Like the culture in your head of how you think comes through in live events. It doesn't necessarily come through in a 70-minute webinar or a sales conversation on the phone, even if it's an hour. When you do the events, there's a culture that gets transferred. So now it's almost like building new friends. Like, you know who you want to hang out with and who you don't, and they can make a really good educated decision on if you're the type of person they want to be led by.
Well, and especially because it's not just about you, it's also about your tribe. They're surrounded by a community of like-minded people, which I find for the average person, they don't have back at home. So when they come to a live event, whether it's, local getting away for a couple days or coming to your annual event and being immersed, not just in your energy, but the energy of your tribe.
Yeah. Barry, we're in a real blessed state right now because of events. We're now bringing in anywhere between 60 and 100 new high ticket, members into our company because of these events that we're doing. We're now doing 2 to 3 of them a month. I remember when it was just a big deal to do 1 3-day, 5 or 6.
5 years ago, you were doing your first live event, list of 5,000, 140 people, bringing 60 people in over 3 days. Now you're doing a couple a month and bringing 60 people in each time.
But we're bringing about 60 to 80 from events a month.
Amazing.
And then we bring about 30. Well, we definitely bring 30 so there's the real numbers again. We do 30 a month that come from either somehow online or email. And then we do 60 to 80 that come from events a month.
Amazing. That's the power of like online and offline married together. Like, you have a successful online business, you add to it the offline business and see a true multiplier with a lot of additional leverage in your business.
Yeah, but the offline business still pulls stronger.
For sure. And I wanted to highlight one thing that you said that I just loved. It was that by giving these, giving generously of your time and of your content, it's that sales as service model. Like I know for a lot of people who are listening, they're nervous about having to be sales salesy, about having to be arm twisters. It feels like I'm going to be, slimy. And we're always trying to talk about that sales as service model that we preach, like serve them hard, sell them easy. Can you say a little bit about that?
I have messed up on more offers, you know that, like even my last event, right? My last event, I messed up on the offer so bad that literally I went back and told them all the areas that I messed up on the offer and broke the tension, and then made the offer again. And we had a 40% conversion,
because
I believe,
they trusted you. The authenticity.
So,
first of all, I think authenticity sells. I think the snake oil salesman days are over.
Making offers is not hard. It just put the bullets down of whatever it is that you're offering and why you're offering those things on the back end of those bullets. And really the whole features, benefits thing, like you even, like, I don't even do any of that stuff anymore. I literally just do the bullets of what's in the program, and I put the benefits off the back end of it. Like, here's what I see as the benefit and why I put it. And then I just say, here's the investment and here's the opportunity if you jump in now. It's not hard. What's hard is making sure that you're delivering content. And it's not hard if you're delivering something that you know, right? If you're delivering content and just working through your mindset of, if I give all of this, will they still buy from me? It's really your leadership that's the hard piece. And I just say, like, just do it anyway. Give them everything you got.
Give them everything.
Make sure that they're super uber clear about what the point is, the through line of what the point is on the event, or what's the point in learning what you're teaching them. And then make sure the offer has that point in it, but there's nothing that you're going to find that's going to amplify faster than events. And there's nothing that's going to be more forgiving as far as them staying with you than to actually make offers at events.
It's so true. Yeah, it's building that muscle. And I love what you said about keeping it super simple. I think we talked a little bit about Frankensteining the offer. And so often people are like, more is more. So I'll just throw in this and add that. And you get, my firstborn child and my library for life. And, honestly, what is really working these days, it is sort of that flip chart model, right? It's like, I can fit this on a flip chart. It's super simple. It's these primary benefits. Yeah. You detail them out because you know what your audience needs. You know it lands with them. They trust you because they've spent 3 days with you getting incredible content. And here's the thing, even if they don't buy at that event, they're such raving fans about the content you gave, they pull people into the next event. And I can't tell you how many times, I know I've seen this at your event and other events too, they don't buy at that event, they show up at the next event and they're ready. Yeah. Like, I wasn't able to do it last time, but I'm ready this time. Let's do this.
Yeah, you could send an email. You could send an email right at the end of an event and give an opportunity for people to jump on your calendar. And, you can, we used to almost double our numbers from our event in the 2 months
just
after
with the follow-up. Absolutely. I would say, like, that continuum. It's not just the live event. It's what happens beforehand for positioning and visibility, what happens on hand, on site with your conversions, and then what happens in that kind of event echo afterwards when you're able to follow up with people. You now have testimonials, social proof, you've got video, you've got audio. You go after those additional people that didn't buy on site but are still primed and ready. So one last thing, in closing, I would love to hear from you. You're constantly coaching people from startup to multi-seven figures in your own business. So in addition to what you've done, it's all the success stories you've created with your clients. Is there like a right size to have your first event?
No, I did my first fulfillment events like right from the very start. I think that I wouldn't have been successful without it. I would just honestly say, like, we're talking a lot of money, which obviously entrepreneurs and people doing events want to know about money.
Easiest metric, yeah.
But the truth is impact equals income.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
If you're going to impact at the highest level at events to date. Maybe there's something I don't know about, but it is the highest impact will always come from an event. And so then you could charge the highest prices from the event, so your income goes up. So I can't charge on a webinar what I can charge at an event. Yeah. And so impact and income definitely are together. And at the end of the day, I've never found that money ever brings any sort of happiness. It's the freedom that you start to get by actually getting the testimonials in large volumes coming through. Like, I had a woman that just did 185,000 in the month. Last year was her first year with me. By the way, I put her into events in her first year. right? So her first year she did, I think it was 240,000, which is extraordinary. She was living in an RV, like a caravan, right? Like, and so she went from not having enough money to hire me to doing 240,000 her first year. And she just in the month of July did 183 or 185,000 in the month. And she said, and I had no stress, and I took every weekend off. And I know, because I gave her the strategy, she had 3 small, like 15 people, retreats that we did, that we filled from her email list.
Right.
And then she made offers at those for a bigger program. She doesn't have the skill to sell that volume necessarily from just her email list. Like, her credibility isn't there yet. She's really still learning. She doesn't know how to run her sales team. She doesn't know how to do a lot of things yet, but was able to create almost a multiple 6-figure in 1 month on her second year, right?
Amazing.
Because of the forgiveness that like events actually give you.
That's so true. I mean, I think all the time I hear people say, I'm not big enough to have a live event. My list isn't big enough. My message isn't clear enough. My this. And the reality is that's the place to start, because you get to know your audience so well. Like you said, it's very forgiving, easy to get that high ticket offer out there, which gives you.
She doesn't even know her messaging yet.
Yeah, it's amazing. So powerful. Well, I know that you have, we borrowed some time from you today. I know you have a client strategy day coming up. Thank you so much for being willing to take time out today and do this with us and help inspire our audiences so that they can see for themselves just how easy a live event can be and how it can be a game changer in their business.
Do it. It took me 2 years to do my first one. Thank God I did it.
Amazing. Love, love, love working with you. Thank you so much.
Wow, okay, so there was a ton of content in there. I hope you guys really took a ton of notes. I know I did. I actually, just 2 pages of notes, and I actually have a few more underneath here. And I see Barry even took notes, and she was the one who was actually talking to Shanda. So
a couple things I want to highlight.
That's awesome. All right, so first off, I saw something that I really, really loved, or something that Shanda said was, and I haven't heard this before, was that live events really give you the space to make a mistake when you're making an offer.
More forgiving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think what she was trying to say there, especially when you compare it to online marketing, right? So for those of you that host webinars or live streams like this, the moment the person gets bored, it's really easy to click on the Facebook link or click on the YouTube link, and all of a sudden you're watching something else. The interesting thing about live events is they kind of create happy hostages, right? So they came to you for a reason. They resonate with you to begin with, and they're there. So if you mess up, there's the space to correct the mistake. Whereas,
and it's the deeper, that relationship and that trust piece, I think, is part of it. Like, they've spent a day with you, they've spent 3 days with you in your real energy. It's so much more forgiving because you've built a deeper relationship with them and they trust you.
Absolutely, yeah, it's really amazing. The other thing that I think is really interesting is you mentioned a little bit yesterday, you talked about stacking events, and that's essentially what Shanda did, right? She went from 1 event 5 years ago to now, what did she say, like 63 events a year? Yeah. That's a lot of events, people. That's more events than we do, but that is impressive. The thing that I actually took away from that, though, is that in terms of high-ticket clients, Shanda brings in twice the amount of high-ticket clients from her offline marketing strategies, from her live events, than she does from all of her online marketing strategies. And online is really powerful, right? It's a great way for lead generation. The challenge is when it comes to high-ticket offers, live events are far more powerful. So I thought that was really interesting for you to take away from.
That was that quantum growth factor too that she mentioned, like live events being an amplifier. I mean, she has an evergreen sales team. She's got a robust online platform, but even with that, offline is trumping it because of the leverage, the amplifier effect, or what we call the multiplier effect of that added leverage that you get, and the investment per person is higher. That high ticket offer is more doable in a live event room than it is online.
For sure. The other thing that I thought that she said was, the other thing that I thought she said that was interesting was that making an offer really isn't that hard.
I know, I love that.
But the hard part is creating the content and filling that in. And the thing that you guys don't know yet is that's actually what we're going to be teaching, or what Barry's going to be teaching on Friday. So really excited about that for you. Friday's going to be a big day.
And the key to that too, Blue, is that she talked about essentially saying done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Right? Like the key is just getting out there. It was what we were talking about just before we shared that video with you. And I really want you to take that to heart for all of you who are a little nervous about getting it there. You know, I saw some of those posts, a little bit nervous about putting yourself out there, a little bit nervous about not having the clarity yet to get started. You'll never get there if you don't start somewhere. So no time like the present to get started.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that she said that I really liked was that if it doesn't fit on a flip chart, it shouldn't be in the offer.
I know. I love that.
Yeah. And then when she said that, I kind of thought to myself, but not small writing, right? Because I can fit a lot on a flip chart.
Big writing, big
yeah, exactly. I think what she meant was like writing like this. If it doesn't fit on a flip chart and you can't see it from the back of the room, it shouldn't be on. So keep things simple, which is pretty awesome.
Less is more, always.
And I know you're going to be talking a little bit about that now. But I actually want to remind you guys, if you have questions about any of the content that we're teaching tonight, or if you have questions about some of the content that was taught on Monday night, I want you to post them in the chat, because we are going to make sure that we keep a little bit of time at the end of tonight's broadcast. And Barry and I are going to make sure that all of your questions get answered. And if for some reason we don't answer it tonight, we'll make sure that we answer it on Friday night. So, Barry, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Okay, awesome. So get those questions posted so that we can address those toward the end of tonight's broadcast. And you know what I'm about to talk to you now is I want to take you into a deep dive on what we call the big why. And it's basically how to start creating your high ticket offer from scratch. So here's the thing, whether you are just starting out or you're taking that next level approach, you've got an existing online or live event business, you want to up level it, what I'm about to share is my go-to structure and the strategy that you can use over and over again to start and grow and refine your event business. We use it with all of our clients. It is perfect for you if you are just starting from scratch. It's perfect if you're just beginning to figure out your message in your market. It's also perfect for you if you're established and now you're designing your first program, your first high ticket offer, or if you're redesigning and possibly simplifying. You're having the aha moment that less is more and you'd like to simplify and redefine your existing high ticket offer. And by the way, I just want you to know, if you're falling into that camp, this is not uncommon. I coached with Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach for a number of years, and one of my favorite sayings was, what got you out of Egypt will not get you to the promised land. And so there may be this high ticket offer that worked for you for years that's starting to not work or that no longer suits you. And you know, it's perfect. Dust it off and let's revisit it and redefine it using the strategy that I'm going to share with you tonight. So if you have not been getting the results you want and you're looking to push the reset button, this is the very same process that we use when we take on a new client, regardless of their history or their success or their size, and they're redefining the live event model with us. That includes successful companies like Jeff Walker, Russell Brunson, Dean Graziosi, who hire us because they want to amplify their income and their impact, and we start with this exercise. So whether you're trying to get 10 to 20 to say yes to your offer or 500 plus, this, what I'm about to teach you, is the starting point. You're going to hear me say this over and over and over again: macro clear, micro easy. And what I mean by that is when the big picture is clear, then all the little decisions are so much easier to make. So if you look in the chat right now, I want you to notice that we have dropped in the 3x3 PAG that I taught on Monday. PAG is Program at a Glance. So that's your big picture schedule in a nutshell. If you have not yet looked at that first training, it is now time to click that link. Click there and get that 3x3 structure that we use to create the macro vision of the live event. You want to have that before I dive into this next training I'm going to do tonight. It's a perfect time to review that before you focus on designing your high ticket offer, which is where we're going now. And then also know that I'm going to be going deeper on the Program at a Glance on the Friday training, because I'm going to be sharing my live event blueprint. I'm going to explain more about that before we close out tonight, so stay till the end. I'm going to give you a preview of what we're going to be talking about on Friday. So let's talk about your big why, how to design your HTO, what we call HTO or high ticket offer. So before we do, I want you to take a deep breath And remember that you do not have to have hundreds in the room. You don't have to have a bunch of money. You don't have to be clear on your offer. You don't have to have it all figured out. Take a deep breath before we go into designing high ticket offer, which stresses some people out, and know that hands down, I would rather have fewer people in the room and have them be the right people who are super connected to you. The more recent they are, the more responsive they are, the more relationship capital they have with you, the better. And why I'm telling you that is I know you're afraid of filling the room and how that's gonna work. You might be thinking, I'm not ready for high ticket offer because I don't know how to fill the room. Put that aside and know that, so often in our industry, that fear comes from people are just constantly talking about butts and seats. I've got to put butts in seats, which means I've got to get people into my live event. I'm afraid that I won't have people at my live event. But it's not about the number of butts and seats. I think that's a misconception. It's really about having right fit people in the room. The starting point for the clarity on who is right fit is this exercise. And again, I'd rather have 10 right fit than 100 wrong fit in the room. The biggest mistake that I see event hosts make is being focused on the wrong rush. The wrong rush is the rush to book the hotel, the rush to fill the room, the rush to write the marketing copy, the rush to confirm the speakers. They're trying to do all that stuff before they're clear on the big picture strategy, which is the offer that they're going to be making, the ideal client that they want to be working with, what we call right fit, on the deliverables that make that right fit client super successful, on the non-negotiables that will make them, the event host, fall in love with their own program, not just in the first year, but for years to come. And I mean that because if you're in a desperate phase, it's like, as long as I get clients, I don't care, I just want clients. But a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, you'll change that if it's not right fit and you're doing services you don't love doing. So getting clear on all those things really should be the starting point. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I promise you, you will thank me for this. Starting it right from the beginning is going to make a huge difference in the growth trajectory for your company. And here's a great way to think about it. How much easier is it to fill the room if you know who you want to be there? It seems simple, but really, how much easier is it to fill the room if you know who you want to be there? How much easier is it to write the marketing copy with that specific person in mind? How much easier is it to figure out the content and confirm the speakers and their content and their topics if you have the offer in mind and the audience in mind? And how much easier is it to design the brochure that's going to be your sales collateral with your offer in it, your high ticket offer, if you already have the offer written, you already know what it is? I know that might seem super simple, but so many hosts start there, like start with filling the room, and they're not even clear who they should be filling it with and what they're going to be offering them. So super obvious, but big mistake that people miss. So hear me on this, lean in. The strategy first concept is to put the rush in the right place. It's not a rush to finish. It's the rush of excitement when you fill the room. It's the rush of adrenaline when you nail your offer. It's the calm that comes when you see your right fit clients rush to turn in their deposits for your program. That's where the excitement comes in, when you know you have all those things lined up right. And at this point, you might be thinking, if less is more, and if all these high ticket offers all come down to accountability and community and enhanced opportunity, how do these programs not look exactly the same? We got this question on Monday night. How do they not look exactly the same? And here's the answer. Many of them do look much the same, in the same way that a Mustang and a Porsche and a Lamborghini are all a car. If you look under the hood, they're ultimately the same parts, and they're designed for the same basic need, transportation. But how they are designed and who they are designed for and how they are priced is radically different. And this is also true of your high ticket offer. The difference is in the DNA. And that's why this exercise I'm going to do with you works. The big why exercise I'm going to walk you through is to teach you how to dissect your DNA, how to get this to be right fit for you, to get it to be uniquely you. So here's the first thing you're going to do. So we're going to start taking some notes. So first you want to get clear on what is your big why. What is the thing that is most driving you to host a live event? A way to think about this is it's kind of like what's your Paris? What's your Paris is a direct link to your big why, to why you want to host a live event, why you want to create a high ticket offer. It's really important to analyze all the facets of this, both personal and professional. And it's even more important to be really honest with yourself. Be really transparent. This is just an exercise for you. What drives you? I'm going to give you an example that is Sage, that is our DNA. Our big why is helping event hosts plan a live event strategy first. Designing programs that create time and money freedom and real impact through real success stories for both the host and their audiences. That's really important to us. No bait and switch. Success for the host, success for the audience. That's the big why that drives us. So I want to pause for just a second and have you think about this. Write down what's your big why. If you did the What's Your Paris exercise, then you really have that ready. If you're not sure, this is something to start noodling over the next 48 hours as we head into Friday. You can also type those notes into the chat. Share those with other people, because here's the thing. Keeping it all to yourself is not as powerful as sharing it and putting it out there. When you share it and put it out there, it helps to make it more real. I believe in the law of universal reciprocity and abundance, and I have to tell you that when you're putting it out there, the universe can respond. So keeping it a best kept secret doesn't help the universe to meet you there. So it's great to post that into the chat. What's your Paris? What is the thing, your big why that's most driving you? And again, if you're struggling with this, sometimes it's because you really know, but you're scared of the answer. So, I want you to pause and kind of get quiet with yourself. It doesn't have to be right now. It might be later tonight. It might be first thing in the morning. It might be that 2 a.m. wake up call, right? Where you wake up and you're like, you know what your big why is. Sometimes we're just afraid of it. So if you're thinking you don't know, I challenge you to get quiet with yourself and really think about it. It's an important piece. I don't think you want to do a live event without being clear on why you're doing it. And if it's as simple as it's, who was it? The home on the beach, the apartment in the city. It might be to get the money to put the kids into college. It might be that 10K to have it be consistent. It's okay if the big why is in the beginning time and money. My gut is it's probably also impact, but I know that sometimes it's as simple as I just need to get into a place where I'm getting my work out there, where I'm actually getting paid for my work, or I'm going from one-to-one to one-to-many. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. That can be your big why. Okay, the next piece of this is who you most want to serve. Now, many will call this your avatar, your ideal client. I think of it as right fit client. And here's the way to look at this and keep it super simple. Sometimes we get caught up in like ideal client and avatar. It starts to feel like a big word and a little more scary than it should be. Here's a really easy way to break it down. Figuring out who your ideal client is. This is for you if. This is not for you if. And sometimes it's easier to focus on the this is not for you than it is the this is for you. It's like this is not for you if is sometimes easier. Whichever one is easier for you to start. But I want you to get as granular as you possibly can. I want you to know who your ideal client really is, to be painfully honest and crystal clear, like in your heart with the people you're working with, who you really want to work with. This is for you if starts with the picture of that person. And when I say granular, I like to get into where do they live, what do they drive, how much do they make, how old are they married, do they have children, what age are they, what do they wear, what do they watch on TV, at the movies. I like to go deeper into their psyche. What is their big dream? The people that you want to work with, what are they dreaming about? What do they most want in life? What's their big why? What's their biggest fear? What's holding them back? What gets them up at 2 a.m., those 2 a.m. sweats? What keeps them from going back to sleep when they have that 2 a.m. wake-up call from the universe? Who are they? And then the flip side of that, this is not for you if, is similar but different. And I often think of this, if you're getting stuck on this, if you think of a right fit client, what are the traits that most drive you crazy? What personality over and over again proved to be disruptive to your one-to-one work or your group work? What calls do you most avoid or dread? And what would you gladly, or who would you gladly refer to anyone else to save yourself the trouble of talking to them? So I want you to think about that. If you have a team, you can include them in this conversation and see what they think, see what their thoughts are. But what's most important is your right fit client, who you most want to work with and who you don't want to work with. critically important as you're starting to think through this, because again, once we're clear on who they are, we can target all of our marketing for filling the room to that person. It's not about just filling the room with anybody. It's about filling them with the people that we want to work with. Because think about it, if you're going to sell them into a high ticket offer, you want to sell people that you want to work with. And the only way for that to happen is to fill the room with people you want to work with. So again, let me give you an example from our perspective for Sage. As we're going through that exercise, age doesn't matter to us, but clarity on vision does. Having been on 1 million stages doesn't matter to us. Stage presence does. Having perfected your offer does not matter, but being willing to work on it does. And a big room doesn't matter, believe it or not, even where we are, that doesn't matter, but an ability to fill it, even a small one, the willingness to do the work and to do this work really matters to us. And actually, we prefer to get in on the ground level. Our brand, Sage, S-A-G-E, is strategic advice for growing events. So we love getting in on the ground level, but more and more often our hosts come to us having hosted live events successfully. They're already having live events. We have to reverse engineer with them how to take their business to the next level. And that's all good as long as that host is engaged and willing to get on the phone to talk strategy. You know, if not, it's not the right client for us. We're really clear on that. Not right fit. We're not order takers. We're not just event planners. We are event strategists. And the DNA of the event is going to reside in the host. If the host is not willing to get on the phone and do the heavy lifting, no matter how big or how successful they are, it's actually not right fit for us. And that kind of clarity has allowed us to fill our practice, our boutique event strategy firm, with the clients that we love working with. And you want that exact same thing. That leads to the third step. So you're clear on your big why, and you're clear on your right fit client. With that right fit client in mind, this third step is what would make them super successful, what I call a raving fan. What would make that right fit client raving about the work you do and spreading the word to everybody else, actually recruiting people to your event and recruiting people to your high ticket offer because they so love what you do, because it's such a right fit. At Sage, we know it all comes down to strategy first, and then reverse engineering everything to deliver that result. So everything we do leads to the desired end result of making that right fit client successful. So I want you to think about what would need to happen for your right fit client to be raving about you, raving about your coaches, your team, your program, your approach, and your results. And again, this is where granular is key. What transformation needs to happen for them to feel that you delivered on your promise? And this is critical to this exercise. Do not worry right now about what you can do, what you can afford, what you're doing right now, how you're going to get there. Don't worry about all those minutiae. Only worry about the big picture of what your right fit client would need to be a raving fan. You know, again, for us, we know it's going to be delivering time and money freedom. It's going to be helping them fill the room. It's going to be making sure they have a high ticket offer that converts. It's going to be making sure that it's not salesy, pitchy, or hypey. It's going to be making sure that their content feels true to them. It's going to be making sure they fill their program with people they want to work with. It's going to be making sure they stick. Like, we're super clear on what our clients need to be raving about us. And this is what's interesting about Sage. All that calendar filling I talked about, having a completely full year, this year, next year, and beyond, is all referral. It's not from marketing we do. It's from our clients going out and saying to their clients or saying to their peers, you have to work with Sage. They're not an event planner. They're a business builder. They do things differently than everyone else. They literally go out and recruit our next client for us because no one does it the way we do it. They're raving fans because they can't find it anywhere else and because we deliver on our promise. So we've got big why, we've got right fit client, we've got what is your having your clients be raving fans, and this is the next piece. And I save it to the end, but you can do it in the beginning if you're super clear on it. But it's not a step that you can skip. It's that we want to know your non-negotiables. What are you willing to do to create the raving fan? What are you not willing to do to create the raving fan? So this is super important in the exercise because I've come to believe that what you're not willing to do is actually more important than what you are willing to do. So think about that for a second. What you're not willing to do is more important than what you're willing to do. It's a raving fan. Let's say, for example, the raving fan is like, what I would most like is one-to-one with you, but you're like, I don't want to do one-to-one work. I only want to do one-to-many. Let's say, I'm going to use Jeff Walker as an example. They're compromising your non-negotiables. When we were first creating Launch Club for Jeff, a client of ours, both a mentor of ours and also a client of ours, he was 100% clear on these non-negotiables. They had to be in place. No one-to-one coaching. At this stage in his business, it's just not where he is. So no one-to-one coaching. No conflicts with ski season at all, period. No conflicts with rafting season at all, period. No weekends, ever. No nights. Family time is super, super important to him. It's utmost importance, so nothing that would compromise weekends and nights. And I will tell you, he has turned down any number of lucrative coaching opportunities that we came to him with, like high-ticket offers, new ways we could design this to protect and preserve his non-negotiables. So if what raving fans would need, if what his launch clubbers would need, compromise what he was willing to do, it was a hard no. Similarly, for our business, Blue and I decided early on that we could double our business. We could do 60 events a year instead of 30 if we would divide and conquer on our event business. But we would sacrifice being together. I love my husband. I love spending time with him. I hate being apart. And 2 weeks apart is our absolute limit. I don't even like that. So we knew that that was a non-negotiable that we couldn't compromise in building our business. Once you know that and you're super clear on it, and I really recommend you not compromise on these. I know it can be tempting when you're new to be like, I don't have non-negotiables. I just need some clients. I just need a high ticket offer. I just want to fill my mastermind. But getting clear on those, what you need to preserve and protect, and they may change over the course of time as your business grows or as your children grow or as you age or as you get more success, as you get more time and money freedom, as you have more impact, it may shift. It's actually a great exercise to do every year to check in and see what has shifted. But if you're super clear on that, then you can get to the next phase, which is gap analysis. And this is really important. So what does your raving fan need from you? And what are your non-negotiables? And if something they need is not something you're willing to provide, then you have to fill the gap. So I'm going to use Jeff Walker again. If he's not willing to provide one-to-one, but his right fit client needs one-to-one support in order to be a raving fan, we had to fill that gap. And so sticking to his non-negotiables meant that we were going to need to hire coaches to help support product launch formula being implemented, getting people to launch. He was going to need coaches to do that. So we had to fill that gap. And when we did that, that led to creating a program that even exceeded his expectations. We were generating real success stories. And within our first year of Launch Club, we actually had people generating a 7-figure launch. That didn't even happen in his high-level mastermind. But that was because he was super clear on his right fit client, super clear it would make them a raving fan, super clear on his non-negotiables, and super clear on how to fill that gap in between to make sure it still worked. So raving fans, check. That's all done. So, what this looks like, I'm going to show you. I did another really amazing drawing for you. This is what this looks like on paper. I'm going to take this over to Christian. You've got your big why, and then right below that is this is for you if, this is not for you if. What would make them a raving fan? And what are your non-negotiables? And then what's the gap in between? So it's a super simple exercise. Doesn't have to be very complicated. You just have to take the time to do it and fight the urge to just jump into doing all the other stuff. Do this first, and then we create everything else around that. And you might be, I think that often people think it's just not possible to create a program that's going to create a live event legend easily. So often you hear in our world about metrics, hey, did you hear what they sold? Did you hear how many people they converted? But that could be a one-trick wonder, like a one-hit wonder. And you see some of these people flame out because they haven't really designed it for the long haul. You don't want a one-hit wonder. You want a lifetime legend status. You want the marathon, not the sprint. And starting with strategy first is the fastest path, not only to making cash here in the immediate, but the truest path to long-term success, to having good renewal rates, to having people raving about you, to having them recruit people for you. So now that you're clear on that big why and who you're selling to, what would make them an epic success, what your non-negotiables are and where the gaps are, you can start actually designing your high ticket offer. Macro clear, micro easy, right? The high level's clear, so the micro is super easy. And so all the little decisions that have to be made are easier. Now you can start filling in the ACE model that we discussed on Monday's training: accountability, community, enhanced opportunity. Your ideal client success stories and your non-negotiables should be front and center as you think about what enhanced opportunities should I provide? What accountability should I provide? How do I develop community? You can make tweaks and adjustments along the way, but having that clear end goal makes the rest of the event planning significantly easier. It makes all those micro adjustments along the way so much easier because you know where you're headed, where the end result is. It makes delegating significantly easier. It's easier to explain to your team, if you have, for those of you who have teams or independent contractors, VAs, where you're headed because you're clear and you can explain it to them in a one sheet, like this is where we're headed. So it doesn't matter whether you're a one-man show, a one-man, one-woman show, or you have a team of 50, knowing what you're offering on a macro level makes all the millions of decisions to get there on the micro level significantly easier for you and the team that's going to be implementing your vision. It's why we insist on it. We can't implement a vision for our clients that isn't crystal clear. So this is the first thing we do. So ideally, I like to do this with clients looking at a big why vision for the next 3 years, knowing that we're going to adjust along the way. Most entrepreneurs are a bright, shiny object, and your business is not going to, your vision today is going to shift over year 2, year 3. But for most entrepreneurs, it's likely to change. And if you're just planning an inch in front of your face, you're doing yourself a disservice. Even though you know it's going to change, you want to look at a mile ahead on the road, not just right here. Because with this vision in place, you can start to lay out the actual features and benefits. You can actually start to put a plan in place for all those deliverables that will make it come to life. Remember, less is more. You don't need 100,000 deliverables. What are the nuggets of gold that are going to make your raving fan successful? It gives you a long runway to begin mapping out the copy and the brochure and giving the team access to make all of that happen, because now they can use that information to fill the gaps and to fill the room. It allows you to choose dates and locations. It allows you to confidently communicate your offer when you're explaining what your event's about to speakers or to the copywriter who's going to be marketing or who's writing your copy. More importantly, it's going to allow you to design the program content and the speakers who deliver it, even if that's just you, to your target audience from the beginning. You'll know who is a right fit speaker, what is a right fit topic, based on all roads leading to the high ticket offer that you've designed. It's so much easier to write the copy, so much easier to attract the audience, to design Facebook ads, Instagram stories. They're all going to be targeted to this is for you if. And quite frankly, you can put front and center who it's not for to make sure you're not filling the room with those people. This means that when you get them in the room to deliver the content and make the invitation for them to join you in the program, they are going to be ready because you designed it for them. It's going to resonate with them. Just think about it for a second. It's all circular. I designed it for you, I marketed it to you, you were attracted to come, and now I have it delivered to you and you're ready to accept it because it's designed for you from the very beginning, before you ever make the invitation. It makes sense, right? You've invited your ideal client for your ideal content and the very services you know they need to be super successful. Accountability, check. Community, check. Enhanced opportunities, check. It's all in there. It's all cooked into the sauce, which makes it easier to do the work we're going to do on Friday in our training, which is really dive into designing that content. So I can't stress this enough. I'm going to say it one more time. The biggest fear is filling the room, but too often I find that hosts and their teams are so anxious to begin filling the room, they forget that it matters who you put in the room. Filling the room to max capacity is a fruitless effort if it's not the ideal client. And sure, you might sell them the first time, but then you have to fulfill them. And fulfilling with people who aren't the people you would love to work with is no fun. And it typically leads to you not being highly engaged, not getting the results, and not getting the renewals. And bait and switch does not survive the test of time. You want to design this event for the long haul, both for you and for the audience to make it successful. Here's the thing. When programs fail, you can almost always trace it back to filling the room. Filling the room is the start of creating that community that's part of that ACE model and part of the 3x3 on day one. Connection, content, community. So much easier to build content and connection and community with people who are all right fit. If you have the wrong community on the front end, building it into masterminds and group programs is 10 times harder than it needs to be. So often a great program is jettisoned as not working on the back end because you don't get good renewals or good stick, when the real problem is that you didn't fill it correctly on the front end. You filled it with the wrong people, so that it was chaotic vibration. There wasn't resonance there. So now that you're more tuned into what your prospects want and need, and you're ready to use a live event to get it out to the world, it's time to thinking about scaling it. How do you scale your big why? And this is what we call the event multiplier. And here is what is awesome. We're almost through here. We're going to get into some questions. Here's what's awesome. You can build off of this same big why exercise to design your 3-year vision. This is where the live event multiplier can easily scale to 5, 6, 7, or even 8-figure businesses in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, like you heard Fabienne did, like you heard Shanda did. This is how you build your business on the back end of a live event. You do that same big why exercise, this very same thing we did, for each level of your business. So whether it's an entry-level program like an ebook, a low-cost digital course, a mastermind, a group program, a membership site, one-to-one consulting, big why, this exercise looks different maybe for your mastermind than it does for your group program. What you're willing to do, your non-negotiables, are different for your mastermind than they are for your group program or for your VIP days or for your e-course. So you can use this for every layer of your business. And on Friday, I'm going to show you how this will go from 5 sales to 50 sales to 500 sales in 5 years or less. Easy peasy. So one last thing. I promised to show you how you leverage money at the live event beyond the primary offer. It's not just about the primary offer. There are other ways to make money at the live event. And I'm going to go over this super quick because I've actually already gifted you the secret sauce here. I've gifted you the art of event monetization, 17 ways to monetize a live event. These are 17 short video trainings that show you how you can leverage the live event model. Here's the thing. Listen to me here. The goal is not to do all 17, ever. Never try that. That's a bad idea. It's to choose the ones that resonate the most with you and make the most sense for where you are right now in your business. Each of them, any one of them, can add additional revenue to your live event, but you're not trying to do all of them. So in those videos, we are covering how you make money before the event takes place with items like leveraging sponsors, ticket sales, VIP upgrades, and more. And then we cover how you can make money during your live event, not just through the high ticket offer. This week we focused on the high ticket offer, which is the most lucrative option for you. But there are other ways to improve your profit at a live event. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that in 17 ways. And then finally, we cover how you can generate money after the live event by turning the event into a product, by selling tickets to your next event, by having event follow-up, and more. So like I said, all you need, you don't want to use all 17, that would be crazy. In fact, most of our clients are just using 3 or 4 of them, but you can look at all 17 and figure out which ones fit best with your big why, with your right fit client, with the program you're going to be selling, and with your non-negotiables. And again, if you have this macro figured out, the micro is super easy. So that gift is already there for you. As soon as you signed up, you got it, and you can tune into that when you're ready. So I'm sure you're starting to see a trend here. I really believe in the macro clear, the micro easy. It's why we start with strategy first in every single thing we do, and why we're always looking at live events through the lens of enrollment first, budget second, and logistics third. We do it in our own business. We do it with all of our clients, and I want you to embrace doing it in yours as well. I promise you it will generate great results for you and great clarity and great calm, because having that rudder and being tethered in this whole process, it's something that you can always return back to. Things start to get confused. Let's come back to this. You're trying to make a decision that's unclear. Let's come back to this, because the answers are almost always in, is it in alignment with your big why? Is it in alignment with your right fit client? Is it in alignment with what would make them a raving fan? And is it out of alignment with your non-negotiables? So always front and center. So I think we're ready to take some questions. Let's do that. Blue, do you have some questions for us?
You know, we do have some questions, and actually, the first question that I'm going to address, there were a couple of people, Ray specifically asked where the information came from for 17 Ways.
Yes.
So 17 Ways is actually part of the original confirmation email that you would have received when you signed up for this workshop. Now I'm going to tell you how you can get to it right now, so mark this down. I'll post it in the chat as well. Those of you that see Powered by Sage with the little admin, that's me. Hey there. And then tomorrow, when we send you an email that includes the replay link for today's training, I'll make sure that we include a link for it as well. So you go to members.sagehub.com. It's going to ask you for a username and password. Believe it or not, we set one up for you already. Your username is the same email address that you used to sign up for this training, and your password is a secret. So just use the Forgot My Password link that's right on that page. Type in your email address, and an email will come to you. It's a little bit raw, so it comes from WordPress, but your password will come through to you there. If you have any problems with that, fire me an email at events@poweredbysage. Both Barry and I are personally answering these emails on a daily basis, so we will jump in and help you out. Also, we had Stephen and Ray ask for a printout of Big Y.
We're gonna give you this.
Yeah, much.
No, I think much like the other night.
Do you want to make that into a paper plane and see how far you can get it?
Now, I think you're my most amazing husband, and business partner, and what I hear is you and Christian are going to work together to make this something pretty
we are.
and post it for them.
So the same way you got access to the 3x3 PAG in today's training, on Friday's training, or if we get it done in time, I'll include a link in tomorrow's email.
I'm like going to challenge you to get it.
You are going to challenge me.
You know why? Because I would love for you to do this exercise by Friday.
Yeah.
I would love for you to take a minute and map this out before we get to, because this is the thing. The trainings are stacking on each other to help you get to being able to design your live event program on Friday, right? And so what we did first was macro, big picture, which is the PDF you got, understanding the ACE model, which is central to everything we do, understanding how to design your high ticket offer, and then based on that, understanding how to put together your 3-day or 1-day so you can literally start to layer in your content and get going. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so questions. That was just a couple of little housekeeping moments. Barry, I did actually have a couple of comments that I want to share with you, because I know you don't get to actually read these in real time, so it's not as much fun for you as it is for me. Sandy says, this has been amazing. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome. Steve Podmore says, stunning content.
Nice.
Also, really fantastic. Audria Richmond says that she loves the way you teach, so much grace and clarity.
Thank you.
I agree. She does have so much grace and clarity. All right, so let's take a peek at questions for you.
Yes.
Okay, this is from Leo.
Okay.
And this is a tough one, but I definitely think it's a good place to start.
Yeah, and Leo, thank you for your email, by the way. That was super helpful. You posted on Monday, and love that you've joined us for both trainings. And I did read every bit of that email, and it's one of the things that we're going to weave into some of this bonus training that we were talking about. I've gotten several of those emails that were super helpful information. I'm like, how can we give them more information to help them get where they're trying to go?
Yeah, for sure. So Leo said, what is the best way to attract or market to the audience you want when you are first starting out? Shanda mentioned she starts with online marketing before moving to offline. What strategy do you suggest? So I'm going to answer that, if that's cool.
Of course.
As a starting point, there's a lot of different ways to market. I would start with a local audience, right? This may not necessarily be for everyone, but going to local networking events is a great way to start. In fact, when Barry first moved to New York and she was starting Sage, that's actually where she started sharing her message. So here's the thing, and here's the thing that I think is really good about going to networking events like that. BNI is one of them, and there are a lot of others, like eWomen is out there. There's a bunch of different local business networking events. it gives you practice sharing your message, right? Because part of what you do at those meetings is talk to the group about what it is that you do. So start there, because your market is going to be there. I would also start posting online, posting on Facebook, posting on Twitter, posting on Instagram, and sharing what it is that you do.
And can I just add
Please.
a quick thing? So something I did in the early years of Sage, like in my first couple years when I just got started, there were a couple of industry publications, and I said, I'd be delighted to write an article for you if you're interested. And, on Saturday I go to Starbucks with my computer and, bang out an article. And it gave me great exposure because I was talking about, the world of live events through the strategy perspective, which was pretty new and different. Nobody was doing it then, and I'm still one of the few doing it now. And so it immediately gave me people who were interested in my message. It led to me getting strategy sessions that led to clients. And it led to me getting speaking gigs, which is the next thing, is I would never turn down the speaking gig. I didn't care if it was 10 people or 50 people or 500 people. And that's grown into now this fall I'll be on a stage with 7,000 people, but that never would have happened if I didn't start by putting the message out there in writing, getting it out there and speaking. And the more you write it, the more you speak it, the more you put it out there in all these different vehicles, not only will you become more known, but you'll get feedback and you'll be able to refine it and really see what's landing and resonating. Early on, it helped me to realize that I really was doing something revolutionary. I was looking at live events in a way that nobody did. And like I said, still in many ways don't. I think we're pretty unique in this strategy first approach of always starting with the end result and reverse engineering. So I guarantee you, Leo, there's something unique in what you're doing, your unique lens, your unique perspective, your uniquely you way. And I would start getting that out there in every way you can. You'll be surprised how quickly it gains traction.
For sure. Brigetti, I just wanted to say hi and thank you for joining us. It's 2:30 in the morning where she is right now. And she said that she's really tired, but she's taking in all this amazing content. So thank you for staying up with us.
Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for confirming that I got your name pretty much accurate. All right, here is another question. This is from Audria Richmond. She asked if we think that events are a great way to attract members into a membership. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview because I saw something that took place today, which was Barry Baumgardner, my wife, my beautiful wife right over there. She spoke with Stu McLaren on earlier today, similar to the way we spoke with Shanda and Fabienne. And Stu is going to be sharing some information with you on how he grew his membership. In fact, his membership is filled pretty much exclusively from his live event. Yeah. So Stu, as the membership guru, for those of you that know him, he has a product called Tribe. He's a client of ours. We helped him go from his first event with 300 people to his next event, which is with, I think he said about 600 today.
No, 900. So the second event was 600.
Second event was 600, and then this third event is about to be 900. So
it's a nice multiplier.
Yeah.
300, 600, 900.
Exactly. Maybe next one will be 1,200. He's adding 300 every time. There's a challenge for you, Stu. Anyway, short answer is yes. The short answer is yes. Events are a great way to fill your membership, and you'll be hearing a little bit more about that in Friday's training.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Oh, Barry Baumgardner. Yeah. Jean Kuhn asked, what's a high ticket offer?
Oh, so that's a great question. So I generally think of a high ticket offer as any program that you're selling that's $5,000 and above. And on Friday, we're going to be talking about the difference between a 1-day and a 3-day live event model and how they work hand in hand. And generally, I believe that if you're selling a program for less than $5,000, anywhere from 0 to $49.97, essentially, that you can do that in a 1-day or a half day. But once you go above that $5,000 threshold, it's really better to do it in a 3-day, and we're going to talk about why on Friday. And there's so many different ways to do that. I mean, again, I hate to be a broken record, but it comes back to this. When you map all this out, what is it worth to the right fit client? If you're delivering a raving fan, and you're giving them features and deliverables that have them raving about you and creating real results for them, then what would that program be worth for them? And so I bring that up because the next question is typically, well, how do I decide how to price my high ticket offer? And the answer is you have to know, based on this is for you if and your right fit client, how much are these people making and what can they afford? And for the work you're going to do for and with them, how much money is it going to generate and how much would that be worth to them? And you can start to put the numbers into place. And I don't recommend, again, that Frankensteining approach that we talked about on Monday, which is, what do they charge? What do they charge? What do they charge? I don't care what anybody else charges. From the very first day I opened my doors, I've always based what Sage charges on what I thought the work was worth, and what kind of results we were generating and what that was worth to the client. And as we've gotten more proven, our prices have increased accordingly because it's worth more. So high ticket offer is getting this work out into the world, the features and benefits and the deliverables that are going to create the raving fan, and deciding what the appropriate price point is. And generally at a live event, 1 day or 3 day, we have a core belief that all roads lead to the high ticket offer. So even though you can make money in other ways, like a sweeper offer, sponsorship, a live event, and all the things that we detail in 17 ways, still, even with those taking place in your program, your primary focus, we believe, should be your high ticket offer. All roads lead to your high ticket offer. And I'm going to show you how and exactly how to structure that into your 1 day or 3 day on Friday. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be an important teaching.
All right, and I am trying to keep up with questions, so I apologize. Celeste Clancy had a question, and she wanted to know, she said, I know you said done is better than perfect, but how do I know if I am ready or not?
So if you're on this training, I think you're ready. And I think I used an example on Monday that was somebody who their first live event was in their living room for 4 or 5 people. And Fabienne Fredrickson was talking about on Monday night how her first live event was, 6 people sitting cross-legged in her living room in New York while she did a training. So you're ready now. Like if you even have an inkling what your big why is, who your right fit client is, what would make them a raving fan, what your non-negotiables are, why not start now? It could be in your home. It could be in the local community center. It could be 5 people. It could be 25 people. It could be 50 people. But you're ready now. Like, get started now. I would never have figured any of the things out that I'm teaching you tonight if I hadn't just gotten out there and tried it. And I know it seems trite to just say, just go out there and do it. But we have a core belief. We say this all the time, and we use it in our own lives as a couple and as a business partnership. If not you, who? If not now, when? Meaning only you can do the work. There is no magic wand. There's no silver bullet. There's nothing that's going to magically make this happen. Only you can do the work, and you're the best person to do the work because you're uniquely qualified to do the work. It's your unique IP. It's your uniquely you DNA, your way of doing it that's going to make it work. And so why wouldn't you get out there right away? Like, one of our goals for you over this week is to encourage you by Friday to put a date on the calendar for whatever your live event's going to look like, whether it's 5 people, 50 people, 500 people, 5,000 people. You're ready now. You can do this now.
And to that, Celeste said amen and thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so okay, so Ricardo has, this is a...
Ricardo always has complicated questions.
I know, this is a hard one.
Hi, Ricardo.
Hey, Ricardo. All right, so Ricardo said, you said that filling a room should not be the main focus, but what if you have a theater as a venue with fixed chairs? If it doesn't fill as 3/4 at least, doesn't that also affect conversions?
Yeah, so it's such a great question. So let's actually use this as a teaching point. So one of the things that I was saying, why are you laughing?
Well, I feel like saying, yes, Ricardo, you're right. That does affect conversions. Get a smaller room, darn it. No, I'm sorry, don't say that.
No, so one of the things that I was saying in the training tonight is that if you're doing this work, and you're going to next use that to figure out, what do you think is realistic to fill your room? Like, here's a basic metric that Blue and I talk about all the time. We think that it's like 10 per 1,000. So for every 1,000 persons on your list, you're likely to get 10 into your live event room. So you can kind of start to figure out the metrics based on the size of your list. It's crazy how that's kind of a tried and true metric regardless of your market. And so you start to run the math and think what's realistic. I mean, I always think there's marketer math, which is basically my stretch goal. And then there's sort of like my conservative budgeting math, real world math. And so whenever I'm doing site selection, for example, like I'm booking your venue, I would always base it on conservative math. I'd rather sell it out than have a lot of empty seats. So I always think it's better to be conservative and have a sold out event, or have to beg additional space, or have to compromise the set. Like, we have a client, we're doing an event for Amy Porterfield this fall. It's our first event with her. We're super excited to be working with her. She is amazing. And it's her first big event. And, we were like, well, we think we might be able to put 1,000 in the room, but let's plan on 500. Like, we know we can put 500 in a room. And so we booked a ballroom that if we did rounds, it would be 500. And if we did theater, we could do 1,000. And so she is right now at 1,000 people. So it worked out really well for us, but it allowed us to scale that room to what would be the right fit size based on numbers. It's a little harder when you have a stadium or a built-in theater, which is one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of that. Just between me and you, I love having a blank palette that I can create the way I want, because you'd be amazed, like, I'm just going to do this really fast. I'm pretending that this sheet is my ballroom, and I'm going to show you, I'll show Christian in a second so you can see this, but I can put my drape here, or I can put it here. So if this were my ballroom, I can set the drape here or here or here, and I can condense the size of the ballroom. And, by the same token, I can set it in rounds and have it feel totally full, see? I can even set just half these rounds, what we call crescent, or I could double or triple the size by doing all theater style seats. So if I'm locked into a venue where the seats are predetermined, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. It makes it a little bit harder, but here's a couple things to know. In real life, you can try and put a butt in every seat, but most people will put a purse next to them, or, there's a space in between. So know that, like, let's say it was a 500 seat venue. If you had 250 people, you'd be surprised. It probably will feel pretty full. And, it scales pretty easily theater style for all the reasons I just mentioned. And if you did, let's say it's a 500 seat venue and you actually did sell 500, you may have to have the MC making announcements like, please put your bags on the floor and please be respectful. Every single person here needs a seat. So some of those tricks of the trade can work. And there may even be ways, I don't know the venue, but you might be able to pipe and drape part of it off if you didn't fill the whole thing. That may be possible. Do you have a sneaky trick, Blue?
Well, no, I've seen the pictures of Ricardo. So Ricardo, full disclosure, happens to be in a mastermind group that we're a part of.
Yeah. And he does great work, by the way. And my gut is, Ricardo, you are going to fill this room. Like, knowing you, it's probably going to be full. It's probably not something you have to worry about. But,
for sure.
Yeah.
But I've seen the room, and pipe and drape isn't going to work for him.
Okay.
However, something that I've seen people do, I've seen done in stadiums for concerts when they're trying to cordon off areas, is they'll actually put like black material, like a black spandex, over multiple rows. Mm-hmm. So it looks like a platform. There's chairs under there,
right,
but it doesn't feel like it. So that could be one way that you kind of give the room a little bit more of that full look. Mm-hmm. And black kind of tends to fall away. Yeah, so that'd probably be a good way to do it. But like I said, that question was a potential rabbit hole, and you did not disappoint.
Spend some time. The bonus training, based on some of the questions we got, the bonus training we're doing on Monday is going to talk about some of those things that typically are the next question, which starts to get into logistics of how to make, once you're clear on your high ticket offer and you're clear on how you're designing it and you're clear on your program, then it's time to go out and actually book the venue. And there tend to be questions associated with that. We're going to be tackling some of those on Monday.
Okay, awesome. Last question for the night, and this was from Lana. First off, she started the question, and this is, if you would like to know how to guarantee that I ask your question, start with a compliment. And I'm kidding, of course. She said that she's following everything that you're saying, and she wants to put on a live event, so super happy that we're inspiring. what date she should be scheduling it for, knowing the timing of the training and so on and so forth. And if you're cool with it, I'm going to give you a little bit of a guideline.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. We start planning events for our clients at varying degrees of distance from the event. And it varies 100% on complexity, but more importantly, on number of attendees. If I had somebody come to me and ask me when they should host an event and their goal was to put 20 people in a room, we would talk about how many people are within their reach, within their circle of influence, both offline and online. And we'd start taking a look at metrics that I know take place and say, okay, you can probably fill that event in the next 15 to 20 days from a local market. So I would plan on 60 days from now, right? Give yourself more than you need so it doesn't stress you out, but don't make it 6 months from now, because 6 months from now for a 20-person event is way too long, and it doesn't give you enough time frame to actually, say, or it gives you too much time to kind of back out. And I don't want that to happen for you. So I'd like there to be a little bit of pressure, like, yes, we're doing this, you put it out there and we make it happen. Kind of like Barry and I and doing this thing that we've never done before, this online training, which is completely new to us. It's part of the reason why you're getting worksheets for Monday's training on Wednesday, and while you're getting the worksheet for today, tomorrow's email.
Full transparency and authenticity.
No, absolutely. That's the way it works, right? So we're new at this. You're new at live events. That's how it works. You need to give yourself, just do it. And then, of course, if you're putting 100 people in a room, I would say you probably need 3 to 4 months. If you're trying to and again, it depends on how many people are on your list. If you were Amy Porterfield, and she came to us and said, I would like to do an event for 50 people, she could do that tomorrow, right? I mean, because she has a massive following. Same with Stu or some of our other clients. Russell Brunson is putting 5,000 people in a room, and he started marketing the event a year ago. So it just depends on what your goals are from a timeline perspective and what your reach is. Believe it or not, that seems like a super simple question, when should I start planning my live event? But there's actually a lot that goes into that answer, because it's really based on what your reach is and what your goals are. So
yeah, and if there's like a simple metric, it might be like, if it's 50 people or less, you can probably do it in 60 days. If it's, 50 to 250, I'd recommend double that, like 4 months, 4 to 6 months. And then when it's 250 and above, I think it's got to be 6 months, unless you just have a super robust list and a rabid crowd that is dying for your information. So it could probably almost put metrics together on that. But Blue's really right, that relationship of how many people on your list and how big the event directly impacts how much time you need.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, and Lana said, you're aiming for 3 to 5 people and you'd be happy. I'd say that's probably a pretty short time frame.
Yeah.
Right? And aim for people that you already have a relationship with.
Right.
Right? Because
for the first time ever, I'm going to be having a super intimate immersion experience at my home or at this retreat center or whatever it might be. So I'm going to be having, this first time, you may never see this again. It's your chance to have, intimate time with me where we're going to dive into this, and this,
Yep.
and part of the, this is for you if would be if you love having a lot of one-to-one connection time with me and you love doing a deep dive to get the work maybe done with you instead of, or done for you, that could be a really compelling opportunity for a small number of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for those questions, everybody. As you continue to have questions tonight, or if questions come up for you, you go to sleep tonight because maybe it's, you're like Brigetti or Stephen Levy and you are on the other side of the world and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and it's time for bed and you wake up and you're like, oh, I wish I asked that question. Just post them in the comment section. Come back to us later. Post them in the comment section. We've been answering comments in between classes. This is a week-long workshop. We're not taking in-between days off. We're here. We're answering your questions, and I want to make sure that you're fully supported and have what you need to plan your first live event, whether it's 3 to 5 people like Lana or whether it's 1,000 people. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you. I know it's late for all of you, as we bring this to a close, and especially for those of you who are tuning in globally. So know that we so appreciate your support and you being excited by the content that we're teaching and you taking the time to be here. So it means a great deal to us. Thank you. And I just want to close out tonight's training by saying that just a quick reminder, if you're watching this, I know that you fall into one of these camps, and I want to kind of help you figure out where you fall into the live event world. If you are just starting out your one-to-one business and you're trying to go one-to-many, you're a speaker, an author, an influencer, a coach, a consultant, or if you have customers but you've never done an event like this, you have a digital course or you have a launch, regardless of the size, and you know that you could double your business without another single lead. If you fall into those two camps, a 1-day or a 3-day could work for you. You don't need a huge list, you don't need a huge room, you don't need a proven offer, you just need to get started and get your message out there. The next camp, if you already have a live event and you want to see more money and more leverage through a high ticket offer of $5,000 or more, or you might fall, we have some of you I know on here that are helping your clients do a live event. For you, it's the 3-day model. You are absolutely going to see the most leverage from the multiplier and the continuum of a 3-day, not a 1-day. So if you fall in that camp, that's what you should be aiming for. And we'll talk about that on Friday. I know that we have covered a lot of ground tonight. I want you to take a deep breath and just know you don't have to do all of it. You don't need to know all of it. It's really about being able to see yourself in these strategies and believe that you can do this. Enroll yourself in you first and begin to choose a path. My ultimate goal with putting on these trainings for both me and for Blue was to enroll you in you and help you see an opportunity that you couldn't see before and embrace that and get out there and get a live event under your belt or get your next big up level under your belt. So whether you want to do a 1-day or a 3-day, you want to launch a mastermind, or you're ready to add a group program to your existing mastermind, going from one-to-one or one-to-many leverage, I'd love to hear from you. I want to know which path you're going on, which one you're trying to choose to get started. I would love for you to post that in the comments below. And if you found value in this video, do me a favor. Share it with at least 3 friends that you think could benefit from having a live event business. Just let them know about us and know that, for you, it's always easier to get started when you have like-minded people on the path with you. So it's going to help you to have other people on this path, and you can share stories and motivate one another. And then I want to tell you about the next training that I have scheduled for you. It's this Friday. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern. You are going to love it. I think it is going to be your absolute favorite. I know it's one of mine. I'm going to be walking you through the live event blueprint. This is a super detailed overview of exactly how to build out your 3-day live event with tips and tricks to condense it into a 1-day, if that's where you're headed. You can download the blueprint on the call and begin to map it out in your own live event. So Blue's actually going to have that one done for Friday so that you can download it and start mapping it out. But first, I want you to do me a favor, leave me a comment, and I would love it if you'd hit that like button. I'm just like you. I love getting likes. It lets me know that the content is landing for you. I'd love for you to post your ahas, the dates that you're putting on the calendar, the locations you're envisioning as the perfect venue for your first live event or for your next live event. Let me know if you're considering a 1-day or a 3-day and why. And most importantly, I want you to let me know what #EventLife, we always call it #EventLife, looks like for you. What's your Paris? How would it change your life? Scroll down and leave me a comment, and I'll see you on the next training.